So the thing is, earlier today, I don't know how it came up, but I did a little Sammy Davis impersonation.
Well, because you said to everybody, I do a killer Sammy D.
No, that's not what happened. It was anything but that. And now he's making me sing every song as if I'm Sammy Davis.
Well, and you skipped it. So Velvet Fog, I don't have to tell you that's Mel Torme, was brought up on stage, and Robbie was doing a bit of a Mel Torme thing, a shooby-bop, bibbly-boppy, and then he goes, well, I also do a Sammy D. I'm like, does your Sammy D do Torme? And it turns out, in his back pocket, yes, he does. So that's what he's been doing all day. To great success. Robbie's nailing the Sammy D.
The crowd really...
And so we put a Sinatra on top of that for your intro, because you know you're an elevated personality.
No, that makes sense. I get it. I get how you got there.
You require a certain level of introduction, and I felt like to Sinatra up his Sammy D doing a Torme is appropriate. Am I wrong?
Well, I think in comedy, this is what you call referential humor. Like, the audience has to know what you're talking about. And based on the deafening silence.
You've read my book, Tumbleweeds, How to Kill a Crowd. It's a great book. It's an important book. Ladies and gentlemen,
we're not here to entertain you, but we will enjoy ourselves.
Make ourselves laugh. That's the goal.
Several of us went to see Elton John last night. It was fantastic. He was so tiny from where I was. It was just this little speck on the stage, but the jumbotrons made it as if you could see. It was very exciting.
I don't even know what that is. I think that's the name for the questions.
Was in the same room? Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Do you want to go look?
I was. Well, I can't say I was near him.
I guess so.
Because I was quite far away from him.
Go look.
And I can't be positive it was him. Because they could have pre-recorded Elton and then put him on the screen and then had a man in the blinding sequence suit dressed as he was in the video. In fact, they may have done that. That was the first time I've ever been to a stadium concert in my life. Isn't that crazy? What's wrong with me? Hi, everyone.
Hi!
Hi. It's nice to be back. It's good to see you all. What's it been like to be at the focal point of American political discourse? Kind of exciting, right? So much hinges on your state. I know, yeah. This has been an interesting. What's that? Yeah, that's by definition what politics is. It's half exciting, half a shit show. And that's true no matter where you are on the political spectrum. That's how you feel. I do think it's fascinating that we're so unbelievably polarized and that there's such parity in the political system now. It comes down to just a few votes every election cycle. The balance of power hinges on just a few votes every election cycle, but the two parties have become increasingly polarized. The left is much further left than it was before, the right is much further right than it was before, and even though the country is almost exactly evenly divided, that means that our political system veers from extreme right power to extreme left power and back and forth again, and the entire population is suffering from massive political whiplash. There must be a better way. Yes. Let's figure that out at some point. That's why I'm advocating for bringing back the monarchy. I feel like we just can have a steady course with one family in power. And
Misha
passing
24!
that down. What? Well, but that's again, that sounds like democracy.
We'll follow Mason.
Ranked choice voting is an option, sure, but again, monarchy would be better.
Misha!
Are you offering me a baby? I'm onto something! Okay. Hi.
Hi, I'm Stacy.
Hi, Stacy.
I love you. I really do. I admire you.
Where are you coming from?
Tucson.
Oh, I spent like a long weekend in Tucson, and it's so beautiful there.
Yeah.
You can come back.
Okay, thanks.
I'm curious about what it's like to be in a show that throughout that particular episode, you go through so many different emotions. So like right after Leviathan, you came back with amnesia, and then you went through that whole show and then ended up staying in the psych ward. What was that like?
Well, I remembered it. I would be able to tell you. What happened?
You came out of the lake and then you married somebody, and then Dean found you and took you to feel sand.
Was that one episode? No.
That was one episode. That was a lot.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I have to say, it caused me amnesia. So, if that's any indication of how traumatic it was, that's amazing that I don't remember that. So I came out of the lake, but did they show me going in the lake again?
No, they should be going in the previous.
The previous year, like, yeah. Interesting.
As an actor, you're faced with a lot of different emotions. Is it difficult for one emotion more than another?
Yes, sure. I mean, I can tell you this, playing Crazy Cass was challenging. But was that bad? No.
That was after that.
Okay. I was a manual. That is amazing that these chapters of life can just so be erased from one's memory. I loved all of the different iterations of Cass that I got to play on Supernatural. It was what kept that show fun for me. But, you know, interestingly, for the most part, Castiel's experience was actually one of quite subdued emotional response. There weren't a lot of smiles, even. You know, like, talk about, like, not a wide pendulum swing. Cass was sort of like little blips of emotion. So, for the most part, the emotional content of playing Castiel was actually, wasn't like tearing me apart. There were a few moments like when Jimmy is reunited with his family. That was like emotionally exhausting. Or when Cass says, "I love you" to Dean, and then expires more or less. That was emotionally exhausting. But mostly Cass was like in this, he was so contained that it wasn't as, when you're, I watched this happen with Jared and Jensen over the years from time to time when they would have emotional scenes. Usually, we can just, you know, go about our business of acting and phone it in quite nicely. But every once in a while, there's a scene that really calls on you to actually muster some real feelings. I know it doesn't come across on screen, but those times you could see it in the actor. Like, oh, there's times when Jensen needs a minute to just collect himself after losing his brother again. You know? I've been playing Harvey Dent on Gotham Knights. Has been really interesting for me because the character is not someone who has this like repressed emotional landscape. So I'm feeling more as an actor playing this character, and it's been like, oh, this is kind of fun and a little bit hard. I think that they probably thought that they were getting a professional actor here. So, but it's been an interesting juxtaposition, I think. I don't know, I didn't answer your question. Which feels like a win. Hi.
Hi, my name is Joan. I live here in Phoenix now, from Chicago, and you just answered my question.
Well
So
then.
now I have no idea what to ask. What is your favorite challenge from Gish this last year? It was the first year I ever played, and I really enjoyed it.
Oh, really? What was
Not
your
played, participated in, I should say.
What was your favorite?
I enjoyed making my little diorama of the duck family that Jared left me, and then it was a duck of you, and
That's cute and sweet.
that's that was my favorite.
I liked the Eiffel Tower item, just because who doesn't love an Eiffel Tower, right? Thank you. Hi.
Hello. My question was like, over the time that Jack and Kathleen met each other, they grew like this father-son kind of dynamic, and I loved that for both of them. So I wanted to ask you that if you got a choice and a chance to have like a father-son bonding moment with Jack, like as Cass, what would you choose and what would you guys do?
Oh, like mini golf or something? It's funny. Yes, that is very true. What you're saying, it did evolve to be this father-son dynamic. Certainly, like I know Castiel saw Jack as his surrogate son somehow. I don't know if they ever like formally codified that, or if Castiel ever was like, "Hey, would you be cool if I like took on the role of father to you?"
I think at some point during the episode, Jack said that he felt like Jack was a son to him when they were discussing like Jack sacrificing himself at some point. I haven't rewatched season 15, like season 12 or 15 yet. So
I haven't watched them yet.
You should. They're great.
Okay. Thanks for the recommendation. I'll check it out. I've been looking for something to watch, so sounds great.
A character named Castiel. He's great.
Okay.
I love him.
Okay. A lot of emotional range.
Let's go with that. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, they could do something kind of fun. This is corny and kind of traditional, but maybe they could go like rebuild heaven together or something like that.
That's cute.
I completely accept that answer. Thank you, and I love
Thank you
so
for your
much.
acceptance. What kind of, what, do you have any ideas for them, father-son activities?
Honestly,
Yeah, it's a hard question. Yeah, taste your own medicine.
baking.
Baking together? I think that's great.
Because I've seen some of your videos where you like cook with some of your kids and you have like your own cookbook. So I
Just
think
some of
that-
them. Not all. God, can you imagine if I had to cook with all of my kids?
I know you would.
How would I even find them? I love baking. I love cooking with my kids. It is, I don't know what it is about that. It's just there's something so gratifying about it. I think maybe it's just that I loved cooking with my mom, and so it feels like somehow I'm carrying on a tradition. but I always love it. I don't know that they like it as much, but I love it, and I make them do it. And that works for me. Yeah. Hi. Hi.
My name is Misha, and I'm from Las Vegas, Nevada.
Hi. We met earlier.
Yeah. Hi, I was wondering if you've ever seen any circus sleigh shows in Las Vegas. If so, which one is your favorite?
I saw the water one.
Oh, the Rev?
Oh.
Yeah, oh, but...
Everyone was like, oh, and I was like, yes.
Yeah.
I don't remember what it's called, but, oh, yeah. I also saw the horse one in Vancouver. I don't know what that was called. Yeah. And it's amazing. Absolutely amazing, those shows, what people do. It makes me feel like such a lazy person. Do you go, why do you ask me this question?
Because I live in Las Vegas, and I see a lot of shows in Las Vegas because I live there.
So you've seen stadium concerts before? Yeah. Any recommendations? I'm going to Las Vegas in 3 months.
Yeah, we're going there too. Me and my mom, we're going there too.
Well, you live there.
Yeah, I know. But
Got it.
yeah, I recommend seeing Ka at the MGM Grand.
Okay. What's Ka?
It's a martial arts show.
Is it Cirque du Soleil as well?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, really? Oh, that sounds super cool. Cool. Maybe I'll bring my kids to that. That's a great idea. Thank you. Okay. Hi.
Hi.
How's it going?
It's good. How are you?
Good, thank you.
I just had a quick question for you.
Okay.
So, out of all of the sad death scenes that everybody, well, hardcore fans know that somebody's going to end up coming back to life because that's just how the show goes. Which scene impacted you and the guys the most?
Well, for me, it was certainly Castiel's last scene that impacted me the most. But I feel like that's not what you're asking.
That's kind of what I'm asking.
Not really,
I
though.
mean, like, emotionally, just like which scene, like, you had to take breaks because it was so emotional. That I understand the ending of shows is really emotional for people, and I was just wondering how you guys handled that.
Handling the emotion or the ends?
Just the ending, just realizing that the show was done, and you guys, you had great relationships.
What are you trying to do? Just make us sad?
I kind of want to see you cry.
I mean, it is a hard thing. It's like, I imagine sending your kids off to college or something. I mean, these relationships are relationships that we were very enmeshed in one another's lives, not just the cast, the crew as well. And it also was all consuming. It was just like, that was the main thing in our lives. And to go on from that and know that you're not ever going to be coming back to set all together again, was like, that's a big goodbye on the one hand. On the other hand, for us cast members, at least we still have these conventions. We knew we were going to see one another again and frequently, and I think our friendships were also strong enough that it wasn't like goodbye for good, which I think in some respects would have been a lot harder. So it was like I think we've had a bit of a soft landing from the end of the show. Like, here we are, we're still riding the coattails of our former glory. And I don't get to, like, every day get to go to work and get dressed up as cast, but I get to come here and look at other people who dress up as cast. So it's like it's like a weaning process, which makes it easier, I think. What do you think? Are we?
That's a very good answer. Just one other thing.
Yeah.
Me and my husband love you.
Oh, well, thank you. That's a great finish to the question.
So if Castiel had a favorite Christmas movie, what would it be?
Yeah, probably It's a Wonderful Life. Yeah. Yeah. Die Hard is a great answer, by the way. Good on you. I just rewatched Die Hard. Die Hard was such a great movie, and it totally redefined action movies.
Yeah.
You could have this like somewhat schlubby bald guy be an action hero all of a sudden. You didn't need to be Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah. Good call. There you go. Die Hard is your new answer. Hi.
Hi, I'm Lacey.
Hi, Lacey.
Last time I saw you was like 5 years ago, last time you were in Phoenix.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Were you 7?
I was 16,
Oh
not
my
22.
goodness. Wow. Well, welcome to adulthood. How has it been for you?
Still obsessive over Supernatural.
So failing to mature.
Well, my question for you was, so Shoshana talked about one time that maybe Cass would know sign language because he can't really know a lot of languages, understand them, and maybe know how to, and it's appreciated. But
That was a. Why didn't we do that? Why?
yeah, exactly.
That was
exactly.
a huge. What? Where were you 5 years ago? You could have had this interjection, then I could have called the producers, and then Cass could have learned sign language.
I didn't get
But instead, you wait until after the show's over. That's true. I mean, at one point, Metatron downloads all pop culture references to Castiel, which then subsequently most of the time the writers forgot about. But if that could so easily have been done, right, then they could have also downloaded every spoken language to Castiel and unspoken languages like ASL. And that would have been really cool. It would have been challenging for me as an actor, and I'm glad we didn't do it now that I think about it. Yeah. I have found that if I give little messages on social media in native tongues to like for example, in Brazil they just had an election and it was basically down to a crazy fascist and a guy that had a reasonably good track record having been president in Brazil. So I sent a little encouragement to vote message. It was very short, and I think I said all of please vote Brazil. That's it. And it took me 20 minutes to get the pronunciation down to say that. But then there was millions of views. Apparently there Brazil, I think Supernatural is Brazil's national television. I think that there's probably millions of gallons of tattoo ink that have gone into demon warding tattoos in Brazil. It's a national obsession. So then after that, I was there was that tragedy in Korea where a bunch of people got trampled, and I was oh, I'll do a little message in Korean, and so I got a translation of hey, Korea, thinking of you. After an hour, I was fuck this. Could not even come close to pronouncing it. So anyway, long story short, that would have been exhausting. And we had to do Latin, and I had to do a little bit of Enochian. And none of us were good with our Latin or Enochian. It was we pretty much butchered the language. We didn't even do English well, let's be honest.
My other question, is there any scenes with Eileen that we get to see between Cass and Eileen that weren't in the show? Because I know there's a lot of cut stuff, and also,
You know
what's
what?
your favorite interaction with Shoshana?
Well, every interaction with Shoshana was great. She's so lovely. I love Shoshana. I love that she's writing now and has, her career is taking off in great new directions. She was just so, there's some people that show up on set and they just buoy the whole environment. Everybody is happier and more engaged, and Shoshana was always one of those people. I don't know. I didn't pay very close attention. like I would watch an episode of Supernatural and then somebody would be like, oh man, bummer about that scene getting cut. And I'd be like, what scene? Because as I've already demonstrated, I have no memory. So I never really kept track of like what didn't make it in the cuts. Every once in a while there was something I was like, oh, I'm bummed that didn't make it in, or like, thank God they cut that out. But we also, for the most part, there weren't a ton of scenes that ended up on the cutting room floor because, you know, Supernatural was a pretty well-oiled machine, and we, for the most part, knew, you know, if it's this many words on the page, how that would time out in a 42-minute episode. So there wasn't a lot of like, ooh, we had a bunch of extra scenes in this episode and we don't have time to squeeze it all in, so we're gonna cut those out. That's like super expensive, and they don't like to waste money. And we wasted enough of their money just messing around on set. But anyway, I don't know of any scenes that were. Do you know of scenes?
I know Shoshana. I actually tweeted to her. She said that there's more scenes where she's signing. Like she even told me Cass, Sam, and Dean's name signs.
Yeah.
On Twitter. So this is Sam. This is Dean. This is Cass.
That's Cass?
Cass. So that means like names.
That's.
If you do it with
I like that. She gave me a sign name too, but.
Misha.
Misha. Yeah.
Your middle finger, Misha, and that's it's similar to like your eyes are sparkling.
Wait, what?
It means like your eyes are sparkling. It means sparkling.
Aww.
Yeah, and Jared means friendly. And yeah.
Weird name.
And Jensen's is it's related to squirrel. So Jensen. I'm actually hard of hearing. I wear hearing aids, and I got my first pair of hearing aids the year that I met you the first time.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I don't know if you remember, but I actually signed to you when I was getting my photo op. I was trying to sign to you. I think you was a little confused.
I don't remember. Yeah.
But it was really quick.
So there was some more signing that didn't make it in, huh?
Yeah.
I know we did have, Shoshana and I had a pretty raunchy sex scene. that I don't remember seeing in the final cut. I should see if I can get my hands on that. Thanks for the reminder.
Hi, Misha.
Hi.
My name is Adriana. I first wanted to say that my fiance, myself, and his sister are very big fans of you. Love your character.
Well, thank you.
As I was standing here...
Are there other members of the family who don't like? My mom and dad, on the other hand.
As I was standing here in this line, my fiance was texting me questions to ask you. Half of them are really stupid, but the one that I chose was, I don't know if you're familiar with the show The Boys.
I am familiar with the show.
But they would like to know if you were part of the show, what would be your superpower and your name?
What did you say? What's required? Do you know, are you referencing something that's coming down the pipe? Are you? What's right?
No, I just happen to know a boy's secret. And I was like, how does she know about the butts? It's so good. It's so good, and I'm not going to tell you anymore, but Remember this moment though, you said butts, and then there's gonna be a moment and you're like, oh my God. I see why Misha was so excited. It's like a butt buffet. You know what's so great is I'm not on The Boys. I don't work for Amazon. I can spoil it all I want. Woo! They can't fire me. I didn't sign an NDA. If they want to screw up and tell me things, they can. I just went to Ben Edlund and Jenny Klein's wedding. They were both writers and producers on Supernatural, and have both gone on to great things since their time at Supernatural. Two of my favorite people. It was like, that's a genuine comment. I genuinely love Ben and Jenny. And Eric Kripke was also at the wedding, and it was so great to get to spend 2 hours with him. We just had so much fun. He's such a brilliant mind. He's so funny. It was the first time I really substantially connected with him, other than doing like some political work since Supernatural. Since he left Supernatural, really, like it's been a really long time. It was really nice to catch up. And he is there's a clinical term for it, but he's twisted fuck. Oh my God, I can't wait. Okay. Anyway. I would love to.
I can ask you the stupid question.
Yeah, ask the stupid question because I'm now just so wrapped up in what's coming down the pipe I can't think straight.
The question was, will you ordain a wedding?
That's a stupid question. You're asking me about my hypothetical superpowers and whether I would be willing to show my junk on television. That's a serious question. When are you getting married?
2024. Don't have a date though.
Oh. Well, who knows? Where do you live?
Well, we live here, but we were born and raised in Denver, Colorado.
And that's where you're going to get married?
Most likely, yes.
Well, we should talk. We should discuss this. I officiated a wedding of a college friend this summer. And it's funny, I've done it now 3 times. I've officiated 3 weddings. And every time I do, I feel very comfortable up on stage in front of you all, talking about exposing myself. But the minute I get up to the podium for a wedding, I become like a nervous teenager doing a high school presentation in front of a whole school. Like, I'm not actually good at it. And like when there's a lot at stake, I get nervous. So, just be forewarned. Yeah. Bye.
Hi. First of all, I voted.
Thank you for voting.
Second of all, out of all the seasons, what was your least favorite storyline out of all of them?
Oh, you know what? Well, I guess it wasn't just one season, but I would say the Sam and Dean storyline wasn't my favorite. You did? See, different folks, different strokes, yeah. I don't know. You know, it's funny. I actually I was excited about where we could go with some of the Leviathan stuff, but then a lot of it didn't really land for me somehow. What else? What else was not favorite? You're asking me what I didn't like about the show,
Yeah, see, my least favorite
other than the
was
main
the
characters.
Leviathan.
That was your favorite?
That was my least favorite.
Your least favorite. Well, so we have some common ground. Now, how can I persuade you to get off the Sam and Dean bandwagon? What else was there that was the Men of Letters? I think the first attempted spin-off of Supernatural didn't work. Do you remember that?
Chicago?
What was that?
Bloodlines. Bloodlines!
Yeah, that was a Chicago one. I don't know. Yeah, thanks. Hi.
My name's Sarah.
Hi, Sarah.
My mom gave up her question for me today. I
Aww.
want to thank her for that.
That's not the only sacrifice she's made for you.
Okay, so my question for you today was, since we all know that Cass had kind of one outfit, the trench coat, what would you have picked instead, if you could, for an outfit for him to wear throughout the show?
Well, I can tell you this. So when I got on Supernatural, I thought I was doing 3 episodes. And I had, for some time, up until that point, been doing a lot of like guest star roles or short runs on things. And I'd never been put in one costume and not had to change. So I wasn't really thinking about it. So tried on the suit, and it said rumpled or something like that. And I think the idea was like, it wasn't supposed to be super designer or super well fit, you know, like it was supposed to be just like a regular, you know, accountant, and what he would wear to work. So they put me in clothes, and I was like, okay, it's fine, whatever. First thing I tried on, didn't fit at all. They had me in a shirt that was like 2 sizes too big. Like I had to, the white shirt that I wore under everything. And like 2 years into filming Supernatural, I went back into the wardrobe office and I was like, hey, nothing fits at all. Every time I put this on, I feel ridiculous. And then I took off like my trench coat and my suit jacket, and they were like, oh my God, those pants don't fit you at all. That shirt doesn't fit you at all, Misha. Have you been wearing this all along? Did we accidentally put like somebody else's clothes in your trailer this morning? I was like, no, this has been accidentally what I had every day for the last 2 years. And so now I'm playing Harvey Dent, the DA of Gotham, and I'm getting like all of these designer suits.
Woo!
Custom made tuxedos, like really, like, I was on Supernatural for 12 years. And how wonderful it would have been if I had been like, no, actually, let's do something that looks nice. Anyway, it turns out there are a lot of great suits out there. I didn't even know that. I'm not a big clothing person, I guess. I wear the same things over and over and over again. Jensen like never wears the same thing twice. Sometimes he gives me his hand-me-downs. But I don't have a lot of suits. The upfronts, which is where in New York where they announce the new shows for the coming season. Go to the upfronts. There's a red carpet, and you're going to be splashed on the pages of a bunch of different, industry news, outlets. So the expectation is you wear a nice suit to the upfronts, and not only that, preferably not one that you wore last year to the upfronts. And so we got sort of a last-minute announcement that we were going to the upfronts for Gotham Knights, and I was traveling and the process of like getting a suit and getting it fit. I was like, you know what? It's been 3 years since I've been to the upfronts anyway. I can wear the same suit that I wore the last time at the upfronts. Nobody will not wear a different shirt or something. It'll be fine. So I was packing and I was like, when I pack, it's 15 minutes before my flight. And I was grabbing the suit out of my closet. I had 2 suits, that's it. I'm grabbing the suit out of my closet and I'm like, oh shit. Moths had eaten, like there were holes just peppering the whole thing. And I was like, this is gonna be tricky. Not only am I wearing the same thing before as I did the last time I was at the upfronts, but it's also riddled with holes. I ended up borrowing a suit from somebody else. Yeah, but then almost immediately after that, I was like, I gotta up my game. And so we did a big press photo shoot for Gotham Knights, and then I stole a suit from that. It's great, it fits perfectly. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name's Alejandra.
Hi, Alejandra.
My question is, have there been any occasions where you just kind of get into character? And if so, what'd you do to work through it?
Yes. That happened for me with the character Castiel. Yeah, so that was a rough 12 years. Oh my God, you didn't it? It's funny. Ultimately, with Castiel, for some reason, actually the frumpy trench coat and the costume, for some reason, when I put that on, it was just like immediately I would start slouching and like Castiel would kind of take over. Somehow that was became very ingrained and automatic. But there were times when we were like doing versions of Castiel that were weird, like Crazy Cass or German Nazi Cass. Ill-conceived. That felt a little bit harder. Like, I don't think I ever figured that out. And there's not a lot of time sometimes. Like with Crazy Cass, Ben Edlund wrote and directed the episode where that character premiered, and he was directing, and so we did the first, basically on network television, when you go in to do a scene, you run through the lines once. Then they put marks on the floor where you're going to stand in the scene, and they set up the cameras, and they send you back to your trailer to get, finish getting your makeup put on or whatever. And then you come back, and they're like, all right, you ready? Can we just shoot this? Like, you don't even necessarily rehearse it once. And then that's it. And whatever you bring to the table there is how, that version, in my case, that version of Castiel gets codified. We did a rehearsal on the first scene of Crazy Cass. And Ben was like, you know what? Before we did the rehearsal, he was like, you know what? Make the character just like maniacal. Like just as big and maniacal as possible. And so we did a take. And Ben said, okay, I like that. Let's try it where you're as subtle and as subdued as possible for this one. And so I was like, oh, okay, well that's the exact opposite of what you just said was good. And my brain was like, are you trying to make me crazy? What's happening here? So then we did it again, and I don't know where I landed, but I never figured that character out. But then it's like, now we got it in the can, we've shot that scene, so that's sort of what you have, that's your template that you have to follow, otherwise it's gonna be weird. So that happens sometimes in TV when you just don't pair. I isolate the variable, I think that was the problem. Yeah, thanks. Hi.
Hi, my name is Haven.
Hi, Haven.
Hi. My question for you is, out of all of the holidays, which one do you think is Castiel's favorite?
that you're gonna ask me my favorite. I like Thanksgiving, because I like cooking, and I like the simplicity of it, and I like getting everybody around. Food, for me, like, food is a love language. There's something about it that's so simple and so community-oriented and not commercial. I love all of those aspects of Thanksgiving. I also like that there's not a lot of pressure around Thanksgiving. Like, people aren't nervous about what's going to happen on Thanksgiving. They know they're going to have the same thing that they've always had on Thanksgiving, again, with the same people. There's not a lot of pressure. I mean, Castiel doesn't eat, so that sucks, right? Like, what is he like? Lent?
Easter!
You know what I don't like? I have to tell you. I think I don't like Christmas.
What?
Me. I think I don't like Christmas anymore. I don't like. I didn't like it as a child, actually. Like, there's something about the commercial aspect, the commercialization of Christmas, and the complete mystification of Christmas that's happened. Like, it's completely divorced from any spiritual, for most people, and certainly this was the case in my families. There was no real connection to, like, the religious traditions or anything like that. It was all about, what did you get under the tree for Christmas? And we always, like, talked about, like, let's do less, let's make it less commercial, or let's everybody, like, make something for each other or whatever. And then that becomes a pain in the butt too. And then people make you candles, and you don't want that. Nobody wants it. And so last year, I hosted Christmas for sort of like the extended family at my house, and there were a fair amount of kids coming. And I was like, how would everyone feel if we actually, like, didn't really do Christmas presents for each other, but we just, like, found some families, like, you know, homeless families or whatever in the community, we get presents for them, and that's what we do for our Christmas this year. And I proposed this to my kids first, and Wes and Mason were, like, visibly relieved. They were like, yeah, because every year at Christmas, like, I get, what Wes was so self-aware and articulate about it. He said, every year at Christmas I get excited, like, so excited, and the anticipation is so strong, and then whatever it is I get, even if I get exactly what I wanted, I end up feeling somehow empty. And I was like, yeah, that's exactly right. And that's a hole that you're never gonna fill, no matter how many hoverboards you get. And so we were like, this was it. You know, like, we came up with a new system, and it was, we had finished buying, we found like 4 families to buy a bunch of stuff for. I mean, it wasn't perfect because we were actually just shoving the problem onto these other families, but it felt like a relief anyway. And finished the shopping, finished the wrapping. It was a little last minute, and I was like, doesn't this feel better, kids? Like, we're not all worried about, like, what we're gonna get and what we're gonna give each other, and like this cycle of commercial consumerism, gluttony. Mason was like, yeah, much better. Besides, I'm still gonna get stuff from Santa, right, Dad? The panic that washed over me in that moment was so intense. And she did get stuff from Santa, but I was exhausted.
That's
Hi.
Hi, Misha. I'm Sophia.
Hi, Sophia.
Hi. This is my first convention, but I've been watching Supernatural since I was 10. And obviously you've been acting in it for a long time, 12 years if you so said. But I was just wondering, how have you seen the fandom evolve over these years?
Well, evolve is a strong word. Actor mauled on stage by audience. I think it's coalesced in. I mean, you know, it's interesting. I'm glad that there are so many people still here, because the show is over. I don't know if you all know that.
Never.
But we, the show has developed a broader and younger fan base over time, which is kind of ironic because we've been getting increasingly not younger. And I think that happened with Netflix, like when streaming became an option, then all of a sudden it sort of opened up this whole new audience. The CW this past summer released some demographic information that had previously been kind of tight-lipped about, which was that the average age of the CW broadcast viewer is 58 years old. It's like the network for like clearly young adult geared programming, and yet their audience is 58 on average. So something is a little askew with the business model there. But over time, I think that it has. So I think it got a little bit younger and it got more fervent, and it also, I think in the time that I've been coming to conventions and been active on social media, sort of interacting directly with the fandom, I've seen it go from this like kind of tight cabal of really like genre television superfans to being a little bit more, feeling a little bit more like a community. And like there's even micro subculture within the fandom. Like it has its own flavor, its own, I don't know, it feels like a community that is very supportive of one another. People are, it's funny, it's ironic, because like the Supernatural fans are very zealous. Some would say, and accurately, crazy. And like if you come after, you know, a Supernatural actor on social media, it's like social media is suicide. Like people will eviscerate you, right? But at the same time, the community is actually very supportive of one another. And I've seen so many people, I mean, I can't tell you how often, like I'm in photo ops and someone was like, you know, somebody just gave me, a stranger just gave me this photo op. And that's, I think that's like indicative of the culture of like pervasive thoughtfulness and kindness that has actually grown up in this particular community. And that is something that has evolved over time. I don't think it was like that in the beginning. It feels a little bit more like an actual community than just a fandom, if that makes any sense. I don't know. And I think that's probably testament to why people are still here. I mean, obviously it's also because you can stream the show, and most of you probably just started watching it, but yeah. Thank you. Hi.
My question was, if Castiel could drop the F-bomb one time,
Wait, can you say the last part of the question?
Yeah, if Castiel could drop the F-bomb one time in the entirety of the show, when would it have been and why?
Fuck, well like all these good ideas are coming now? Castiel as the polyglot would have been amazing. That means speaking many languages, by the way. And Castiel as like swearing like a sailor? Why didn't we do that? It would have been so great to have an episode where it's just like, beep, beep. Castiel's like, we could have done that. We could have beat Castiel swearing up and down. That would have been so great. Do it in the Winchesters? Okay, great. Hey guys, I want to pitch you an idea for an episode. How have you all been watching the Winchesters? Are you liking it? Really? Oh well, that's awesome. That's great to hear. No. But I'm planning to watch it. Yes. I'm not lying. I am planning to watch it. I just haven't done it yet because I haven't done it yet. I want to watch Supernatural first. I think my kids are about ready to watch Supernatural. We went to this fundraiser recently, and it was the Flash cast was there. Not all of them, but several members of the Flash cast and several members of the Arrow cast were there. Both of those shows my son has watched, and we were seated at a table at this banquet with the other cast members. He was like, "Can't believe you're making me come to this." Sat down at the table, and he was like, so cute. He was like, "Dad, I get a picture."
Aww.
It's very cute. And then we took a picture, and he was so nervous that he was like, the picture is like. Hi.
Hi. So my name is Marvina.
Hi, Marvina.
I am totally trying not to freak out right now because I really do think you are like the greatest human being to walk on this earth. Just your kindness and the things that you do for the world. I've been in the KISH program. You've inspired me to do such amazing and wonderful things. I named my dog after you.
Well, I don't know how not to blush right now. This is very awkward. Thank you.
No, I mean, for real, there were some things, I think about, the way your childhood and how you were just so strong and powerful, and it helped me get out of a really bad situation, and just thank you for everything that you do. I can't think of a really good question right now.
Well, it was a really good statement, so.
I guess I was thinking about, I named my dog after you, but, what is the coolest thing that someone has named after you or honored you with?
Well, that's pretty good. I have met some babies named Castiel, which is always pretty cool. Billie Eilish named her cat Misha. So that was pretty awesome. I did this show, Road Food, last year, which is a culture food show. And along the way, one of the episodes, one of the people I sat down with and sort of interviewed and ate food with was Billie Eilish's mother. And she told me that Billie Eilish had named her cat Misha. And I was like, no, but she was like, I was like, oh, that's a funny coincidence. She's like, not coincidence, after you. And I was like, what? And then I got in the car with the kids right after that, and they were listening to Billie Eilish, and I was like, kids, I know that Billie Eilish named her cat after me. And they were like, shut up, Dad. Oh, really? And they were like, no, she didn't. And I said, yes, she did. And they said, you're a liar. And they refused to believe me. Little shits.
I co-opted that story and told it to my daughter to try to get points with her. My teenage daughter, I was like, so my friend Misha. Didn't get it.
It didn't, that also doesn't work.
Okay, great. I thought it was cool.
Me too.
So freaking cool.
That was the coolest thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah.
Yeah. I'd say that. Coolest thing ever happened to me. Just knowing you. Rich, coolest thing ever happened to you?
I named my cat Misha.
Well, gosh.
Rich, it's nice to have you back.
Is it?
Good to be back. You sound surprised.
No, it is nice.
No one thought we'd see you again. We thought maybe you
we thought you were dead.
Yeah.
He said this morning at the intro,
Yeah.
we thought he was dead, but he just shocked us all by
Reappearing.
Yeah, I'm not.
Were you cryogenically frozen?
Yes, that's why I look so good. I haven't aged a day.
You haven't aged a day.
Let's keep this distance then. This is good. This is good for me. Glad that Mark Pellegrino canceled. It enabled me to step in and join.
Is that what happened?
I was gesturing to Billy. Sure. You were between Misha and Billy, but yeah.
Well, does that mean you're just not even like booked for these?
I wasn't like as I said this morning. I was like, Pellegrino canceled, and they're like, well, who can we get? And they went down the list, and
they were like, Ghost number 3.
Yeah, they went there. They had
Demon number 7.
Be a good time to have a first AD show up and talk shop, and then eventually.
And someone's like,
but they
Rich is
needed,
actually still alive.
They needed somebody who was willing to pay for their own flights.
Exactly. Somebody willing to do this for the love of the game, as it were. Yeah, no, it just worked out, man. It just worked out.
Are you scheduled for other shows coming up?
I am. For example, Nashville, Tennessee
I'm
would
not
be my
surprised to hear
hometown.
that.
Yes, that's.
You're going to be at that one?
That's my hometown. I'm going to be in Nashville,
Great.
Tennessee.
All right.
You mean I know this, but I'm from Nashville.
I know, but I thought you weren't going to be at that one.
I'm going to be
This
at
is
that
exciting new news to me.
Oh,
No one tells me anything. I found out a few days ago he was going to be here today.
I know, and there's nothing better than telling Rob something Rob doesn't know, because I don't know if you know this, but Rob is lettered in the varsity sport of passive aggression. Hey Rob, I'm going. Oh, are you? News to me. Didn't know. No one texted me. Well, I guess you'll be here. I suppose we'll be on the stage together. It should be a delight.
It's true. I'm really good at
I don't
that.
know what happened. The band gets it. They're laughing a little hard.
Yeah.
Are you going to be in Nashville? You're going to be in Nashville. Oh, are you, sire? Joining us in your hometown? Well, let me sound the horns. Hear ye, hear ye. Look who's returning to his roots. I'm sure your mother will be thrilled.
That's how I feel. That's true. Oh, God.
What do you think of New Rob? Because I have been touting New Rob. I'm a big fan of New Rob. You know, Rob, the mustachioed, sort of grizzled look of like, I know my way around a carburetor kind of look he's got going. Just so you know, anybody who knows cars, Rob couldn't pick a carburetor out of a lineup of
carburetors.
Oh, Jesus. But,
No,
what do you think?
I think this is like, I told Rob, it was post-coital, I was like, right. You are so much sexier now than ever before.
Right.
And I've thrown words about like chiseled.
Chisel's been thrown on, yeah.
Macho, musty, well-built.
Yeah.
Manly.
I said, for the first time ever, masculine was a word I used.
Yet still so receptive.
And I will say the new Rob, like the varsity level passive aggression is the old Rob, and putting it on this guy is really threatening. I feel like it's actual aggression. I feel like I'm going to get pulled in a beer bottle coming at me.
It could just morph to actual aggression.
Yeah, exactly.
I thought you were going to say the new Rob makes me realize how much I hated the old Rob.
No, we love both Robs.
Just we like this one better.
We had to choose. Speaking of choosing,
Yes.
you don't have a choice. You have to go. Ladies and gentlemen, Misha Collins.